One of the big news items coming out of wrestling this week is good old JR's critique of, the wrestlers, not just in AEW, but all over, doing the same old stuff, week in and week out, basically the same flips and kicks and dives and, huddling together to catch somebody kind of deal. And he basically feels like, they could do a much better job if they wouldn't do it as much. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting out of it. Like, the only reason they're doing it is because they want to, get fans to chant "Holy blank" or "This is awesome." That's all they do it for, in his opinion. And in JR's opinion, what they look like when they, gather together is they look like idiots. They look like fools, and they're too good, in his opinion, to be looking like that. They should be smarter than that. And from what I can guess, from what I could tell, and maybe it's just me, and I've been a fan since the mid to late '80s, early '90s. From what I can tell, JR wants them to basically save that kind of stuff. Here's the thing: I don't think he's against it or anything, but I think he'd rather them save that kind of stuff for bigger occasions, more marquee occasions. For example, like tonight, right now, is Ring of Honor's Final Battle event, which is their marquee event. It's their pay-per-view, if you will. It's their WrestleMania. It's their Double or Nothing, if you will. It's their Bound for Glory. And the way it sounds like to me, is JR would rather them save these kind of holy crap moments and these "this is awesome" moments, with these maneuvers and everything that they do for these kind of events, and not constantly do them on a daily basis. Just wait to do them when the time is right. Well, when the event is right. And in this case, it being like a pay-per-view or something like that. Or even a special event, like, you got New Year's Dash coming up, in a couple of weeks. They'd rather them save any of the moves that are flips and kicks and dives and all that, and plungers and all that, for that event, for those kind of events. But more so for the marquee pay-per-views like Revolution or Double or Nothing or Royal Rumble or, WrestleMania or even TLC, events like that. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. Now, is JR right in what he's saying, that it's just the same old stuff, that they need to be smart about what they do? Yeah, absolutely. Is he right about them looking like idiots when they huddle together to catch a guy, when they're on the outside or something like that? Yeah, it does look ridiculous. And yeah, I do agree that they should be playing it smarter. They should be wrestling smarter. I'm not against that or anything like that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be wrestling smarter. But what I'm getting from this, from what JR said in his podcast, and again, everybody from Alex Six, just Alex, Jason Solomon Sounds Off, Jim Cornette, and many others, have said in their response to it, they've agreed. They have come out and said that they agree with what JR is saying. Because JR has experience. He's a veteran. He's a Hall of Famer. He's been in this business for over 40 years, almost 50 years. He was trained or learned under one of the best learning trees, whether you like the guy or you don't, in Cowboy Bill Watts. So he kind of understands what's going on. And what Jim Ross is trying to relay to a lot of the wrestlers in not just AEW but all over is, don't always constantly do the same stuff week in and week out. Don't constantly keep doing it. Don't constantly keep doing the flips and the kicks and the dives and the plungers and the gathering together to catch a guy kind of deal. Don't constantly do that. Change it up. Don't, use a finisher, don't use something like a DDT or a super kick that's looked at as a finisher as just another move in your arsenal or a setup move for an actual finisher. Don't do that. Utilize it. Protect that super kick. Protect that DDT as a finisher so that it will be taken seriously, so that when you set up somebody to hit them with a super kick, it's not a transitional move to another move. Instead, it's a finisher. They know that once you hit it, boom, it's over, match done. Same with the DDT. Same with, as Alex added in there, Alex 6, that is just Alex, the Canadian Destroyer, the Sunset Pile Driver. Or the Sunset Flip Pile Driver, if you will. Or the Panama Soundwise, as they call it in WWE. Stuff like that. That's basically what JR is trying to get across, is when you hit those kind of moves, they shouldn't be the kind of moves that you kick out of at 1 or 2 or 2.5. They should be the kind that finish an opponent off, that as soon as it hits, you know the match is over. You know the match is over, and you got a victor, and that's it. And what I'm getting out of this is JR just, wants a little bit of stability. He wants those kind of moves that look like they can basically, take a guy out permanently, end their career, to be the one that ends the match. And if not, and you're going to have those kind of moves that look like they can finish somebody off and win the match for the person that uses it, if you're going to have the individual that gets hit with it or nailed with it, kicking out, then you should save those kind of moments for the big marquee events. Like I mentioned, Ring of Honor has the Final Battle pay-per-view tonight as we speak. And if somebody was to hit, let's say, a Canadian Destroyer on another opponent, that normally it would be the kind of, in a regular weekly broadcast of Ring of Honor, that would end a match, right? But in this case, if it was to happen, this is the kind of event where usually it would win a match. You would have somebody at this kind of event like Final Battle kick out of it, because this is the kind of event you save moments like that for, including, the dives, the plunges, and all that. The flips and the kicks. This is the kind of event you save those marquee, big time, holy shit, this is awesome, kind of chance for. This is when you do it. This is when you save. This is the kind of event like Final Battle that you save it for. Just like with Double or Nothing, just like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Revolution. Those are the kind of events you save these moments. And I think that's what JR is trying to get across, is you want to do these moments, that's fine, but save them for bigger events where they actually matter and where they will get an actual reaction and make that moment along with that event memorable for the people that go home and talk about on the YouTube channels or on the wrestling forums or whatever, or talk about on the drive home anyway. And again, I think that's what JR is getting at. I don't think JR wants people to stop doing it. I think he wants them to save it for bigger, more important events where they really matter and really should happen. And if you want to get those, holy blank moments and this is awesome moment chants, going from the audience, either virtually or in person. But that's kind of the takeaway I'm getting from it, because like I said, I've been a fan for over 40 years, for basically almost 35 to 30 years. So for over 30 years, I should say. So I can kind of see where he's coming from. But what do you guys think? Do you think JR is just overdoing this? Do you think he's just making a big deal out of nothing? Or do you think he has a point? Do you think he has a point that they should save these kind of moments for marquee events instead of doing them on a weekly basis? What do you think? Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace out. God bless. But again, let me know what you guys think. Do you think JR has a point? Because honestly, I think that's what he's trying to get at. That he's not really against them doing it, but save them for the events and times that matter and not always constantly doing them, on a weekly basis or daily basis. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I am out. Peace.